Hey everyone, it's Gail L here. I am the queen of journaling on YouTube and TikTok. And I wanted to start this day, Monday, May the 18th, 2026, already, by saying sometimes it's just good and healthy and helpful for us to take a moment to pause and reflect. So today's journaling series video will be on learning how to, or taking the time to pause and reflect when we're journaling. There's so much going on in our everyday lives. I speak for myself as well. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to do my next video on this. But before I do, I always have these are my favorite thing moments. And this week, I forgot to do it last week. My niece graduated from Westchester University. So congratulations, Tabby, with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. And I said to her, hurry up and get your practice started because I could use some therapy. In any event, these are a few of my favorite things. I just have 2 items today. I just had to show them. My love of butterflies. My Granny Young actually created this for me. She's 7 years old. She's so creative. She's picking it up from her grandma. She made me a little story binder with my butterflies, front and back. Beautiful. I mean, creative, isn't it? But it actually has a full story, which includes me, her grandma, and her brother, Sincere. Serenity is my granddaughter. She's 7. He's 9. And they made me a full story on the perfect grandmother. I thought, that is so way cool. With these artificial intelligence services that we have available to us now, I think you can do just about anything you put your mind to. So don't sit around and be bored and say you have nothing to do. Because, we watched this movie, I, Robot, about 20 years ago. So the world knew, the scientists knew that this day was coming. These days are coming where we have these AI resources to get us whatever information we need, or to help us develop whatever creative writing we have. So get busy, y'all. Get busy. But the story was creative. I thought it was very, very well done. But then she had the nerve to put little aliens in there, which scared me. But it was so cute at the same time. Escape Boy. So thank you, Serenity, for my creative best grandmother binder with the short story using her artificial intelligence resources. It's here, and it's here to stay. Another item I received on Mother's Day was from one of my sons. And he was one of my sons in his younger years that kept me busy. He always had me going to get him out of trouble. So I thought this card was so appropriate. It was so no coincidence that I had to show it today. So it says, Mom, where would I be, like a bumblebee, without you? And when you pop it open, it says, probably misbehaving or misbehaving. And I thought, happy Mother's Day to the Queen. And that's me. So this card was just awesome. It hit the spot. My son DeMarcus, he's my 3rd son out of 4, 3rd born. And we both share the same birthday. How about that? November 21st. So he's always been that extra special one. Thank you so much for my lovely, lovely card. That is no coincidence, reflecting on where he would be right now if I was not a part of his actual life. So, thank you. Now, getting back to our subject of pausing and reflecting, I thought, what made me stop to think about pausing and reflecting? And I said to myself, I'm going through so much right now, and I don't want to say I'm going through a lot because I'm always going to be happy. I'm always going to be accepting, and I'm always going to speak positive. But I'm experiencing some challenges right now, and life's moving very quickly for me. And I thought, it's just one day when I can't keep up with what day of the week it is because I'm, pretty much at home a lot of the time. I'm at the daycare a couple days a week, and I am uh, preparing myself for summer school this summer where I do summer enrichment. But when I take a moment to pause and reflect at the end of the day, I want to be calm, I want to be collective, and I want to be in a reflective mood as I journal. So let me give you some suggestions or some tips on pausing and reflecting. Pause and reflect. When you pause and reflect, it's a written, calm, inspirational style that fits your journaling and includes your signature phrase. Pause and reflect. What happened to me today that was so important or so memorable? Like, I'll never forget this. Because every day there's something that happens in our life that some moment, some minute, some second that something happens and we think to ourselves, I need to write this down because I don't want to forget it. In most cases, mine is I speak life because you only get one. So let's try to enjoy it because you just never know. I also pause and reflect, and I think journaling gives us permission to pause because we're sitting there, we have our ink pen, and we're about to write our moments for the day or our moments for that evening or that night or that morning. So journaling gives us permission to pause. It gives our thoughts a place to land, and it gives our emotions a voice. And sometimes it gives our hearts room to heal. I know a lot of us are experiencing some personal, family, workplace situations, and our hearts can be a little torn sometimes. And journaling is an avenue to heal or begin to heal what is broken at that moment. Because what's broken doesn't have to remain broken. So we pause and reflect, and we realize that pausing and reflecting does not mean we're weak. It actually means we're gaining wisdom. There are moments in life when we become so busy surviving every day that we forget to evaluate where we are emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Because in that moment, we can become angry, we can become so upset. I actually had a dental appointment on Monday that I totally forgot about and ran out the house yesterday and drove, about 8-10 miles to this appointment. And I got there and the doors were locked. No cars were in the driveway. And I thought, today is not the 11th. Today is the 12th. My appointment was on the 11th. Of course, I called my dentist and she was very understanding. She says, I'll see you next Monday. So thank you, Doc Elsie. We smile for others. We continue working, acting like nothing's happening. We continue helping. We continue showing up. But inwardly, we may feel overwhelmed. Yes. Exhausted. Yes. Confused, disappointed, or emotionally drained. Ugh, that's a word, drained. That's why journaling can become a safe space. A journal does not interrupt you. A journal does not judge you. And a journal allows you to be honest with yourself. When you pause and reflect through journaling, you begin to recognize patterns. What hurts you? What inspires you? What drains your energy? What strengthens your peace? And what keeps repeating in your life? But lastly and most importantly, what is God trying to show you? Reflection helps heal, and it heals through being truthful. As I've stated in my beginning videos, if we're not going to be truthful in our journaling, then don't even bother, because unless you just want to make up this fictitious book and leave it for someone, that's fine. But other than that, what is God trying to show you? Reflection helps reveal truth, and sometimes we are waiting for answers. But reflection helps us realize the answers have been sitting within us all along. Reflection and self-awareness. Reflection is one of the most powerful parts of journaling because it forces us to slow down long enough to truly see ourselves. Many people spend their lives reacting to situations without ever reflecting on why they feel the way they do. And I question myself all the time about why certain situations affect me the way they do. It's not like it's my life or breath, but yet it consumes a lot of my thoughts, and I don't want to be wasteful with my thoughts or my time, because we only get one life, so we have to keep it moving. Many people spend their lives reacting to situations without ever reflecting on why they feel the way they do. Reflection helps us process emotions instead of burying them. It helps us understand our responses instead of simply repeating unhealthy cycles. And that can happen to anyone, repeating unhealthy cycles. So, pause, reflect, repeat. All three of those go together. It helps us recognize growth instead of constantly focusing on failure. And I speak for myself again. Always sometimes see a picture or read something, see a television show, and start to reflect on what I think I failed at in my life. When in actuality, I didn't fail anywhere in my life. Everything happens in my life for a reason. I'm right where I need to be at the right time and the right moment. It's no coincidence. So don't ever think that you have failed anything in life, especially if you took the time to at least attempt to try it. Nothing beats a failure but a try. When you reflect while journaling, you begin having honest conversations with yourselves. Yes, I do it all the time. So you begin noticing the thoughts you repeatedly carry, the fears you continue to avoid, the people or situations affecting your peace, the habits helping or hurting your progress, and the emotional weight you've been silently carrying. Creates awareness. This is a part of reflection, creating awareness. So once you become aware, at least you can start to process your healing or your rethinking. Because sometimes you're not always broken. You just need to pause and reflect and rethink how you manage someone, something, somewhere. And awareness is important because healing often begins when we finally acknowledge what we truly feel. Sometimes people are overwhelmed not because life is impossible, because we have to live it, but because they have never stopped long enough to process what they are experiencing. So how many of us take a moment? Well, I want you to start taking a moment daily to process what you are experiencing. Every moment of every day is an experience. I was out working in my yard this morning, sweeping some of the pollen away. And I love it. It just relieves me. It relieves my stress. But it's a beautiful experience that I like to remember and I like to recall. Journaling creates the pause. That pause that we need prior to reflecting and journaling. Reflection also helps us see how much we have grown. So in every failure that we thought we experienced, look where we are now. We've come so far. Oh my gosh, we don't even think about it anymore. Look how far we've come. And I just want to adjust my camera a little. There we are. Because I worked so hard to make my little wall my background. There may be moments you once thought you would destroy you. You thought there were some experiences that would destroy you. But the reflection, you realized you became stronger, you became wiser, and wiser is where it's at. Knowledge is power. You became more patient. Slow down. Be more patient. You became more understanding and you survived difficult seasons. And I do have a previous video on a waiting season where we just have to wait sometimes to get that answer that we want. Reflection turns memories into lessons. Instead of only remembering pain, journaling helps you recognize purpose, my favorite word, growth, and resilience. Again, my favorite word. It allows you to examine your journey honestly. Sometimes reflection may reveal areas where we need healing. Sometimes it reveals areas where we need forgiveness. Sometimes it reveals areas where we need rest. We just need to take a rest. And sometimes reflection reminds us that we are doing better than we give ourselves credit for. And how many of us don't give ourselves enough credit? I know I do. I don't give myself credit at all. I made this silly video in the car on the way to my niece's graduation. It was one of those filtered videos. And I thought, oh my goodness, look at me. I wish I did look this good. And so many people responded to that video saying, you are beautiful. Stop it. That filter has nothing to do with you being beautiful. I'm beautiful on the inside. And that's most important. Forget all this beauty on the outside because it's all going to fade away. Nothing lasts forever. I was talking to my nail technician this morning and she has a friend that does facials, and I said to her, I would love to get a facial. I said, teasingly, hey, you have any Botox? She says, don't do that. You don't want to do that because after a while, in the long run, it can cause all kinds of health issues. And I said, trust me, whatever I have, I'm taking it to the grave. I'll take it to heaven. I will not do Botox injections. So I state that to say again, it allows us to examine our journey honestly. Let's be honest. Even when we joke sometimes, they say, oh, behind those jokes is some truth. So I guess I did think about Botox at one point, but honestly, I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't get Botox. Sometimes reflections may reveal areas where we need healing. Sometimes it reveals areas where we need forgiveness. Sometimes it reveals areas where we need rest. And sometimes reflection reminds us that we are doing better than we give ourselves credit. I thought it was very important to reread that statement. Reflection is not about condemning yourself. It's about understanding yourself. Do you understand you? When you journal honestly, you create space to release emotional pressure, organize scattered thoughts, track your growth, document your healing journey, strengthen self-awareness, Increase gratitude. Increasing gratitude. Gratitude. Being grateful. We should be grateful every day just because we woke up and we could think right, and we could walk right, and we could talk right. Increase gratitude and develop emotional clarity. Be clear and crystal clear on everything you say, do, or experience. Be crystal clear on your emotional development. Reflection also strengthens intentional living. That's good to know. When we reflect regularly, we become more mindful about the words we speak. Yes, the environment we remain in, the relationships we entertain, the choices we continue making, and the direction we truly want our lives to go. A journal becomes more than paper. It becomes a mirror. It reflects your growth, your struggles, your victories, your prayers, your fears, your hopes, and your healing. One day when you think back at all of your journal entries, you may realize that your journal was documenting your transformation all along. You've transformed. You've grown. So before I end today, I did want to leave some reflection questions with you. And they're just a few reflection questions you can journal about when you get a moment, sometime today. And I'll post them at the end of this video so that you can see them clearly. What has been occupying most of my thoughts lately? What emotions have I been ignoring? What situation continues to disturb my peace? We need that peace. We need inner peace, though, before we can even begin to accept that outward peace. What am I grateful for today? Gratuity. What are you grateful for? What do I need to release emotionally? Wusa. Wusa. What do you need to release? What lessons have I learned from recent challenges? And we've all had challenges in our lives because challenges help us grow. What kind of person am I becoming through this season of my life? What areas of my life need more honesty and reflection? Be honest. What habits or thoughts are preventing my growth? I have a couple of them myself. And what positive changes have I noticed within myself recently? Now, I don't want you to rush your answers. I want you to allow yourself to think deeply and allow yourself to feel honestly. Your journal is not about perfection. It's about expression. So I hope you enjoyed this video today on pause and reflection when journaling. I want you all to, again, take a moment to pause and reflect. At some point at the end of the day, I'll post the questions at the end of this video. And take a moment to journal and write it down. Drop me a few lines and let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope to see you again in my next video. It's coming up. I'm trying to do every Monday again. But if you like the video, please share, subscribe. And I get so excited about thinking that my journaling series continues. And I hope and prayerfully will see you in the next video.
Gail and Crawford. Gail and Crawford, Queen of Journaling. Gail and Crawford, Queen of Journaling.